So much better.
One of you write this on the check. Hello, good morning. Real quick. I'm gonna try to make this less than 10 minutes. So, I know a lot of people are. Why are we standing? I'm new. This is weird. Where are the chairs? So, if you're wondering that, and you're like me, and like your legs hurt for just standing on your first day, anybody think that you can be honest? Anybody thought that? I got 5 or 6 honest people. You're brand new. Hey, look, here's why, okay? I read, and that's when we got rid of all the chairs. I read a thing by Tony Robbins. Anybody know Tony Robbins? It's one of the only positive things you can see on Netflix. Go watch I Am Not Your Guru by Tony Robbins. And he says that when you are sitting down and writing notes, you forget 80% of what you write within 30 days. Now, if you're standing, you only forget 30%. So you retain 70 just for the fact that you're standing. It's, for some reason, it makes you focus more. Does this make any sense? No. But it sounded, or to me, it doesn't. But it sounded like, for me, I was like, well, if I'm less tired, then I'll take more notes and I'll be better. But anyway, it must be a brain thing, you know. Tony Robbins run multiple businesses. He's a multimillionaire, and he also has a good podcast. It's free on I think Apple or something. It's called The Power from Within or something like that. And he used to be like a sexual therapist for couples and marriages. So you can imagine how good he is at like talking. You know? Yeah. That's a topic you have to be strong at, like creating safety to talk about, right? So imagine doing that for a living, right? Like talking to couples about their, intimate life. You gotta be good. I just gotta imagine you paying a total stranger to talk about that.
You gotta be good. You gotta be pretty good.
And then he moved into a coaching route, and now he runs over 40 companies. And anyway, he's great. You should watch his documentary on Netflix. It's called I Am Not. Anybody's watched it? I Am Not Your Guru. Isn't it awesome? Anybody else? Tommy's watched it. D. You watch it, Ali? Dude, only a few people. You watched it? Isn't it awesome? Dude, you guys that watch Netflix, at least do something good for yourself. Put that on. It's free. So, anyway, my point is, so a lot of people are learning how to make a sale today, and the sale is the part that's probably the most scary of our entire training program. And our goal is for here, from day 1 to day 180, which is 6 months, is for us to teach you how to run like pretty much the whole company. Now, this is not $1 billion company. It's a lot smaller, but our goal is to teach you how to operate one. And for me, if you're anything like me, that was a lot more valuable in a resume than it was to, like, if you research the average career, even as a doctor or working at a bank, you would stay in the same position for an average of 3 to 5 years before you move up. Like, I think restaurants have some of the fastest growth, but you still have to be. How many years would you say, Tommy, in a restaurant till you move from like the first day to like GM? How many years?
Typically at least 10.
At least 10, maybe 5 if the restaurant's really struggling to get growth, right? Growing really fast. So 10 years. So I realized in this business, we're gonna have people next week. I'm super excited. People that have been here for less than 5-6 months run the company, and it's gonna be. I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be a mess. Because people are going to make mistakes, but they're not going to be penalized for them. They're going to be encouraged and applauded. And again, I think that love the business because it's different. One of the first things that causes the most nerves is like, dude, I'm bad at sales. I'm like, I never. If anybody think that, like, I'm just not good at sales. Like, sales is just not a thing for me. Dude, freaking Danny's raising your hand. She made 9 yesterday.
You want to be honest in that. So like,
yes, that's why I'm. Anyway, so raise your hand here if you previously, forget about the job for a minute, if you've previously been in a relationship with somebody. whether it, okay? Is that most people? That's everyone. I'm like, is somebody like that ugly? I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Sorry. I'm not supposed to say that. I was joking with Tommy yesterday because we were talking about somebody being uglier than the back of a refrigerator.
That's crazy.
That's funny. You gotta be real hard to look at. Anyway, sorry. We'll start. Sorry. That was a joke. That has nothing to do with the word. Just a joke, okay. So look, if you've been in a relationship before, you are good at selling because you sold the person, the opposite person of the relationship, of being with you.
Yep.
So you are good at selling, and some of you have maybe worked on that relationship a lot. Like, do I got any consistent, persistent people out there? Anybody? Okay, you got a few honest boys up there. There you go. Hey, a lot of ladies, like, you're really hard to sell on the relationship you're in today. Like, you made the person work for it. That's good. Like, that is also sales. Look, so the first thing I want you guys to learn today, instead of like, hey, how to make a sale, or what's the step one to selling, or what's the pitch, and so much of the words of the pitch of whatever you're selling. By the way, some of you guys are doing the phone program, which is not even selling. I want you guys to learn. It's true. How you're giving somebody a free phone, right? So, or at least a free bill. I want you guys to learn the mindset behind selling, and I'd love for you guys to gather some thoughts around it. Okay, so great book, by the way, that you should. I'm really against audiobooks. Normally, really against audiobooks. Normally, because you can trick yourself into think you're reading. For most people that are new at reading. Because you can put an audio in the car, and I put an audio in the car, if the voice is boring, you fall asleep. Like, I'm like, what did they say? I didn't pay attention. Like, all of a sudden, I'm reading all the billboards. For this specific author, please do audiobook. Please don't buy this book. I mean, you can buy it if you're a fan like me. I'm a total fan of Grant Cardone. But, hey, this is a great audiobook because the author of the book is also the speaker that plays the voice. And you will not fall. It's an incredible book to play on audio in your car. If you switch your music for audios, side tangent, for 5 years, your income will triple at least, I promise you. It's just very difficult to switch that Bad Bunny, right, or that Taylor Swift, or Grant Cardone, or somebody yelling at your ear. Anyway, so the mindset behind sales, there's a book called Sell or Be Sold. And I want you guys to think about, hey, forget about selling as a transaction or about a job or about anything. Just forget about the transaction money for a product. Just I want you guys to think about sales like in any conversation in the world that you have with a friend, a peer, your parents, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, you're either buying or selling something. Does that make sense? In every conversation, if you're talking to your best friend about, hey, do we go to get pizza or do we go get sushi? So it's either pizza or sushi, right? Either I'm selling you on pizza or I'm buying that we're going to get sushi and then you're selling me on sushi, but somebody's making the sale. You ever been in a group of friends and one or two of them seem, or maybe it was you, seem to have more influence to decide where we're going out tonight or where we're eating? You ever have that? That person's better at selling, but there's always a sale being made. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you have, and for the ladies, have you ever been like hooked to some product? Could be skincare, makeup, or something for your hair, and then your best friend or somebody that you really like in your life introduces you to something new, and you look at it, you're like, dude, yes, I need to try it, and you automatically get it just because of the referral of your friend?
Yeah.
Does your friend make money on that product typically? No. So what they do? They sold you. They sold you on the idea. First, because they have a what with you? They have a relationship, which means you do what you have what with them? Trust. So trust is the biggest sales factor, which is why when you guys are selling anything, if you have a good relationship with the person, is different, right? Hey, what are the chances that, let's not talk about facts, but just chances, opportunities. Let's say you get pulled over by a cop and total stranger cop pulls you over for speeding. You know you're doing 80 on a 70. You get pulled over. What are the chances you have a ticket? You get a ticket. From 1 to 10, let's say. Let's say it's 9. Let's say it's 9. For ladies, it's maybe 6, right? Let's say it's 9. Okay, now let's say you get pulled over, same person, stay with me, stay with me. Let's say you get pulled over, same person gets pulled over, 80 out of 70, but now the person doing, the cop pulling you over is your cousin that you see every weekend. Do the chances, I'm not saying 0 or less, but do the chances go higher, stay the same, or go lower? Depends on the cousin.
It depends on your cousins.
Yes.
You guys get the point?
Yes.
Okay, like, because there's a relationship, I have less chances of getting a tail. It's my cousin. Like, why? Because I have trust. So I can try to sell him on, like, bro, I was on a rush to pick up your kid, by the way.
Right.
Which, by the way, just got in trouble in school, whatever, right? So the point being is, hey, selling is it's in every conversation. When, like, if you have roommates, so there's only one shower, you both want to shower at the same time, or you go to a hotel, you travel, you both want to shower at the same time. Hey, you shower in the morning, who's showering first? Somebody's making the sale. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So there's always sales being made. You're always selling every day in your life. Sales is not about a job or a commission or a percentage or a transaction or an item. Sales is about your ability to communicate. And a lot of people connect sales with manipulation because you've been manipulated before. Maybe somebody sold you a car that was actually crappy. And you gotta stay away from that, because there are actually people, like I know people in here that do sales and they sell stuff that is good for the customer. They're providing a good service. So anyway, I want you guys to like really think about it in the field. Like, hey, the customer's gonna tell you, I don't have time, I don't have any money. There's customers, guys. Look, for anybody that's not on water, there are customers that tell us that they don't drink water. Is it true?
I only drink beer.
But is it true that they don't drink water?
No.
Never. But dude, I promise you they'll tell us. By the way, for the people that are not on the phone program, there's people that tell the phone guys that they don't need a phone. Is that true, phone people? I don't need a phone. Which, by the way, if you're on water, the only way somebody qualifies to get a free phone is if they make less than $30,000 a year, which means they're broke, and we give them a free phone paid from the government. So like the bill is paid monthly, and they'll still say that they don't need it. But the only reason we actually are able to show up there is because they need it. Does that make sense? But we still have people, so like, it's an excuse. You're either buying the customer's excuse, you're either letting them convince you that they don't need it, that they don't have time, or they're either selling you on their excuse or you're selling them the product, but there's one of them is selling. It's either you or them, every conversation. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I want you guys to think about going to every conversation like that. You don't have to be pushy, but just know that you are selling all day. If you're married, you're an expert salesperson. Expert. Because you're getting your husband to do this, to do that, to do this. You're getting your wife to do this, to do that, to do this. You're selling all day. It's just not in exchange for money. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So anyway, sell or be sold. I definitely encourage you to get it. Hey, what's the hardest sale? So I would encourage you to think about what's the toughest sale to make, not between you and the customers or you and your friends. The hardest sale is between you and yourself. I was talking to one of the leaders earlier. It's like, hey, the hardest sale to make is for you to convince yourself, which is what took me 6 months to understand this, for me to actually be successful at this. I sucked my first entire 8 months, well 6. I sucked for 6. I didn't see results till month 8, because when I started actually not sucking mentally, then it took me 2 months to get a result, to get actually leaders under me. And that was probably the toughest 2 months. It's like when I was actually doing everything, but I didn't have any results for 2.5 months. That sucked. The toughest sale is like, hey, how sold are you on the idea that you're going to get a sale? You have to understand that if you're going to talk to 40 people, sales, and by the way, the way we do sales here, it's almost like collecting tips, because we're not selling solar panels or pest controls or services that require huge commitments. We're selling internet, which everyone has or needs. Everybody could use a lower bill. We're selling water, we're selling phones. So if you were to learn sales, if sales was, which by the way is the highest paid profession, if you were to learn sales, this is probably a good place to learn it, because the item we sell is dumb. Does that make sense? And so many people can use it. And it's also a temporary thing that you don't have to consider. You don't have to do always sales. It's only a part of your training. However, it's the first part because it'll make you mentally grow a lot. Say, hey, you gotta understand, you're gonna talk to 40 people today, which you need to talk to at least 40 people. It's like, would you pay millions of dollars for a billboard that's not on the road that no one can see? Why not? No one can see it. Does the billboard need at least X amount of traffic to be for the company to be like, cool, I'll put it there? Like, would you put a billboard in the cul-de-sac?
Probably not.
No, right? Well, it's the same as when you go in the field and you don't talk to 40 people. You're basically putting a billboard in a cul-de-sac. You gotta understand, you're gonna talk to 40 people, and more than likely, you're gonna get 35 to say no. And you have to understand that. At the same time, you have to be sold. I go to every person thinking they're buying it. I'm sold because I'm like, my product's good, it's a discount. If you compare it to anything, it's good, and they're gonna be in a mood to get it today from me right now.
Right now.
And I think about that every time. Last time I went to the field with Tommy, we're selling a new program, we're selling home improvement. And I'm like, Tommy, this is the door. And guess what? Then we were knocked at the door and they're like, no, I'm a renter. I'm like, ah, it's the next door. It's in it. We're getting 2 today. And what we get? We got 2. It was like, but until like, it was like not until 30 minutes after we were supposed to leave, call center was closed, that we got the second one. But we got it. Like, hey, you gotta go knowing, if you're brand new, it's your first day, like if you think to yourself like, well, probably towards the end of the week I'll start getting 1 or 2 a day, then that's what it's gonna be. You can also be like, hey, today's like my practice day, I'm gonna be observing. You're gonna make a sale. It's not difficult. You've already done this before. You gotta go thinking, I got my mindset right, I'm gonna make a sale. I'm gonna make few sales, several. Because the product we're selling is good, it's something I would buy. Do you buy things?
Yes.
Like, what do you do with your money? Do you get a paycheck every week and then do you keep every dollar, or do you spend it on buying stuff? Spend it. So you are a buyer, right? So all you're doing is you're meeting other buyers. I need to have this mindset of like, I'm gonna make a sale. How sold are you? And that's my challenge for you today. It's like, hey, how sold are you that you are good at selling? It's only a mindset shift. Like, I'm good at selling. I'm good at selling. I'm good at selling. I'm good at selling. You should analyze the product too. Like, if you look at the product, like everyone complains about it and no one likes it, then yeah, maybe pick a different product. But the product's not that important. Our product definitely works, because if not, we wouldn't have opened 28 offices or whatever in the last 2 years. So, hey, how sold are you on the idea that you're gonna make a sale? That's the toughest sale. It's selling yourself, selling your brain. If you tell yourself I'm not good at sales, you were right. If you tell yourself that you're great at it, you're also right. You just have to be good at that. Duplicating that is a different story. So I want you guys to talk LOAs, by the way. What that means, if anybody doesn't know, means law of averages. We're just talking about it. When you talk to 35 plus people, that's a mistake. It should say 40. And any product, by the way, you can do this in any product in the world. Bless you, girl. When you talk to 40 people, there's going to be 10 to 15 that are just interested. Doesn't mean they buy it, but they're like, cool, I'll check it out. Like, okay. Now it's on us from there. But there's no way you talk to 40 people and everybody's like, not interested, not interested, not interested. It's impossible. It's called law of averages. Just like there's a billboard. And if the billboard goes through enough people, there's going to be people that buy it. Would you agree? Mm-hmm. If not, would they be billboards? Are companies so stupid that they put billboards knowing that they make no money off of them? No, right? People put billboards, why? Companies pay money because they understand they're going to get what? Sales. Return on investment. Sales, right? Return on investment. So you have to believe that there's 2 to 5 people that are going to sign up. Please, for phones, don't copy this number, okay? Phones is different. You all know it. But I would say if you're selling upgrades, you should have 2 to 5 people every day. Everybody agree? Kelly, Julian, or Sharon?
Sure.
Upgraded phones, you're going to have 2 to 5 people that want to sign up for them. Dropping off the free ones it's totally a pace thing. So you have to be sold on this idea before you step in the field. To a degree that you are sold, you will sell. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I'm sold, I will, and that it takes months to develop this, by the way. You're still gonna get rejection, you're gonna have thoughts in your head, I wanna quit, but it's not like in any other job. There's not a job in the face of the universe, and you can ask your parents or anybody more experienced than you, that you never think of quitting. Like, there's never a job where somebody shows up and it's like, man, I'm so happy I'm here instead of with my wife and children. I can't wait to be here another 40 years. This is awesome. No, everyone, even if they like their job or they like what they get paid at their job, they have thoughts of quitting. Everyone has a thought of quitting. Sales just makes you exercise that thought a lot more. You're gonna think, I wanna quit, because you're gonna get rejected in your face, which if you were working a 9-to-5 job on a computer, the computer doesn't do that to you. So your thought of quitting will just be exercised more, which is why sales positions have more turnover than 9-to-5 positions. And is this not a sales position? Not forever, but temporarily you have to learn sales. So we're involved in that. Just like doctors, there's just a lot of turnover in doctors. It just happens over the course of 10 years. It takes 10 years for somebody to become a doctor. But only about 10% of people that actually start med school actually become doctors. So there's a 90% turnover. It's just over the course of 10 years. So you don't see like 1 million people quitting in one day. You see 1 million people quitting in 10 years. So it seems lower. Does that make sense?
Yes.
People talk about it less. Why? Because they're $400,000 in debt and they don't want to be embarrassed that they spent $400,000 and they don't get the loans forgiven. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You guys see what I mean?
Yes.
Great. Have to be sell to the degree that you are sold, you will sell. Selling yourself, hey, you gotta have the mindset of like, they can get this somewhere else. They can probably go on the website, pay $2 more and sign up on frontier.com. They can probably research Gen Mobile, I bet, and get the phone delivered, or definitely with the water as well. But they can't get it with you. You have to understand that you are the separating factor. Like, hey, you get me. When I sell you this product, somebody's like, well, I don't want it. I don't want it right now. Look, can I get it later? I mean, you could, but later, what you can't get is me. And you have to have confidence to say that. Like, ma'am, you won't get me. And if you need anything, by the way, I will help you. And you need a referral, you need to get $100 on your next order of water reimbursed to you, I will make that happen for you. I can't promise that anywhere else. You have to be okay, like that's not being pushy. You have to be okay saying that. Like, hey, you get me. You get me, which you don't get anywhere else. Exclusive customer service. Make sure you provide the value. Don't lie. Some people think to be good at sales, you have to lie. That's not wrong, by the way. If anybody ever told you that, they've never been trained professionally on how to sell. They've only been trained on how to do a pitch and how to create revenue. Versus somebody actually learning the mindset behind it, okay? Product knowledge. If you know product knowledge, you'll be confident. Confidence equals certainty. If you're certain about your product, if you know that the stuff, if you know your stuff, like anybody felt like they lose a little bit of confidence throughout a sale because they don't know the answer to something?
Yeah.
Or if you're brand new and you didn't do your homework and you didn't do the phone process properly, you didn't study well, you're gonna be in the field thinking, you're gonna be like, I'm not sure what to answer. And those few seconds of silence, the customer, what are they thinking? They're like, no, it's a scam, this doesn't work. But when you know the phone process to the point that you don't even have to look at the phone to make you know the page they're in, because you study your stuff. You go home and you study your craft. Does that make sense? That's good. Anybody experience that in a different job where like maybe you were a waiter, like you learned the menu so well, somebody's like, what's the best thing? And you're like, I don't know. Or they ask you what's the best thing and you're like, this. Dude, the chicken tenders came out this morning. I saw them. They are crispy. They are good. I saw, hey, anybody experience that? Like knowing your stuff helps you, like the certainty that you create helps customers make decisions. Really it helps you make sales. Does that make sense? Uncertainty causes people to think. If people are certain and sold, they'll make a decision. If I am sold that this product does not affect my relationship with my wife because it's not a contract. I am sold that I'm going to drink water at some point. I am sold on the idea that I'm going to spend money on water at some point somewhere, or I can spend it with Rachel today and get the water delivered. But the money's going to be spent anyway. If I'm sold on these ideas, I'm gonna make a decision. I'm like, cool, I'll get it right now. The reality is, you're not really actually, for you guys on water, you're reallocating their next purchase to be delivered. That's it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Frontier is like, hey, Frontier is more like, are you selling them on, people just hate signing up for internet. Anybody love it? Anybody love signing? Like I love that I gotta call AT&T today and sign myself up. When you move to a new apartment, do you like love setting yourself up for new internet?
No.
It sucks, but is it necessary?
Yes.
It is. So people, what they want is knowing that they're going to spend very few time with you, that it's going to be fun and entertaining, and that hopefully they get a better deal or more speed. But nobody, you got to understand, what do people hate? If you're talking on Frontier about fiber and copper, and you're losing it. You should never even mention this. You need to mention like, hey dude, it's gonna take no time, we're gonna have a great time, and I'll be your customer service person. You can talk to me personally to my phone. And I got you, if you need anything. I can't promise you anything, I'm not a magician, but your speed goes down, something happens, I can text my manager can send an email to corporate, and we'll take care of you personally. You can say that before the customer makes the sale, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Say that, the customer's like thinking, I'm like, sir, look, listen to me. You're gonna love this product. If anything ever happens, you got me. I will be on the line for you. I can talk to my manager. We can send an email to corporate and help you, take care of you. Not that you'll need it, but you will. Now what does that customer feel like? Sure, I feel better if I make a sale. I'm like, you know what? Sure, I'll spend 20 minutes and I'll sign myself up. Because I didn't get that from my other company. What I got from my other company is a 40-minute wait because they're transferring me to the other department. The other department picks up, they're like, yeah, that ain't me. We gotta transfer you to another department. Anybody love that?
It's great.
It's awesome. Anyway, know your stuff. The only two things you can control is your work ethic and your attitude. The only two things you can control is your work ethic and your attitude. You can't control somebody's money. You can't control if they make a decision, ultimately is their decision. You can only control how many times you try. Can I control how many people I talk to?
Yes.
Yes. You only control how quick your legs can move, and you only can control your attitude. You can decide to be cheerful and joyful about your experience, whether it's positive or negative, or you can experience to be sad and petty. You've never anybody ever liked talking to a sad waiter or waitress or to a person at a restaurant that you can tell is having a bad day?
No. Anybody
ever from Walmart came to help you in a mood, and that you can tell you're like, dude, screw off. Like I just want to find sweaters. Yeah, like the milk. Like I'm not. But you can tell like somebody's using their day to like dump it on you.
Yeah.
Nobody enjoys that. So you can decide to be that person. Like the person at Walmart might be going through a tough day, but it's not nobody's fault. They shouldn't pay it with somebody else. Just like us, we shouldn't. If you get 4 people say no to you, hey, you might get a customer. Let me say this: you might get a customer be racist. Is there racist people out there?
Yes.
Guess what? You work in customer service. They say something racist to you. Guess what you got to do? You got to suck it up. Look, I'm glad Tommy said it for me. You have to. Like you can't. I got a racist comment, and you punch. You can't do anything. It sucks. Hey, they make a comment about you. It sucks. If you're in customer service, the customer is always right. You can't get back to them. So it's your choice. If you receive that and then you go to the next customer and you're still mad about it, now you have this like attitude around you, this vibe. That's not okay. Does that make sense? So you have to control your attitude. You have to be able to like leave some problem at one house and talk to the next person and have a complete your new billboard every single time somebody hears it. That's it. What I want you guys to do today is look. And by the way, if you have credits, if you download Audible and you find the book, Sell or Be Sold, I would put the first chapter or something and listen to it. See what you learn. By the way, see what you learn for life, not just for the field. Sell or Be Sold on Audible. So go on Google and put Sell or Be Sold Audible. If you've never downloaded it, you should have a free credit and it's free. If not, it might cost money. It's a book. It's an actual book. It's a great book. You should read it. My challenge for you guys today, what I want you to do today is realize, hey, at the end of the day, how much did I control my work ethic and attitude? Could I have done better with that? I want you to do that today. Hey, could I have done better with that? And then the other thing I want you guys to count is the hardest sale. So like after you get your first 5 or 10 no's, I want you to remind yourself like, am I sold that the next person is getting it? Because you lose it. Every time you get a no, it's like chipping away from your belief. So I want you to practice today like, hey, am I sold? Like how alive is my belief that I'm the next person's getting it? They're buying it and they're referring me to somebody. I'm getting 2. And believing that after your first 10 no's, I want you to think after 10 no's, is my belief the same? Stop and think about it in the field. If you catch yourself thinking about it, please send me a voice message like, dude, I just caught myself being a little bit more negative because I just got 3 or 4 no's, but I'm back. My belief is there. I am sold that it's only a billboard. My billboard is not in the cul-de-sac today, and I'm talking to 40 people, and 10 or 15 are going to be interested, and I'm going to sell 4 or 5, no matter the 5 or 6 that already said no. Can you guys do that for me today? Yeah! All right, so it's 12:04, so we're going to have a 30-minute break, what you can use for changing or lunch. If you're brand new, please stick with somebody that knows you, and we'll be back here at 12:35 for a break. 1, 2, 3. Break!